It was a cold and dark winter evening, the air heavy with a chilling foreboding. The townsfolk had gathered at the local community center, seeking solace in each other's company, unaware of the horrors that awaited them on this infamous night known as Black Saturday. Then a voice emerged from the depths of the darkness, a voice that seemed to seep into their very souls. It was a voice unlike any they had heard before, cold and devoid of any humanity. The speaker introduced itself as the Entity, a malevolent being that thrived on the fear and suffering of those it encountered. The townsfolk trembled as the Entity detailed the terrifying ordeal that awaited them. It explained that on Black Saturday the boundary between the living and the dead grew thin, allowing malevolent spirits to roam freely. These spirits sought vengeance and were eager to claim their victims, taking pleasure in the terror they inflicted. One by one, the Entity began recounting the stories of past Black Saturdays, each tale more horrifying than the last. They spoke of a vengeful specter that preyed upon those who had betrayed their loved ones, dragging them into the darkness to face eternal torment. They spoke of a haunted forest where lost souls wandered, their anguished cries echoing through the night. As the Entity continued, the room became filled with a palpable sense of terror. Whispers of disbelief and terror swept through the crowd. Some tried to escape, but the doors and windows were mysteriously sealed shut, trapping them inside with the looming horror. The crowd, inspired by Emily's resolve, began to search for clues, relying on their knowledge of the town's history. They delved into dusty archives, unearthing long-forgotten tales and ancient rituals. With each revelation, a glimmer of hope ignited within their hearts. Hours turned into a never-ending night as they pieced together the puzzle of Black Saturday. They discovered an ancient incantation capable of banishing the Entity, buried deep within the pages of an old grimoire. With trembling hands, they recited the words, their voices rising above the terror that surrounded them. Suddenly, the darkness lifted, replaced by a blinding light that flooded the room. The Entity let out a blood-curdling scream, vanishing into thin air, leaving behind only the echoes of its torment. As dawn broke on the following day, the townsfolk emerged from the community center, exhausted but triumphant. They had stood together, defying the horrors of Black Saturday, and emerged victorious. From that day forward, Black Saturday was no longer a night of terror. The townsfolk celebrated their unity and resilience, knowing that as long as they stood together, they could overcome any darkness that threatened to consume them. Little did they know, however, that the Entity had merely been weakened, biding its time for the next Black Saturday, when it would rise again, thirsting for revenge and suffering. But that is another tale, a story for another time, when the shadows once again fall upon the town and fear grips the hearts of the innocent.